Hi, this is Roger. Welcome to Everything in Bloom on the 8th. And we had a brilliant idea to do this in a different way, just to make it perhaps more interesting. And then when you actually start to think about such ideas, you shoot them straight down. Whack, 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 whack. My idea was to put the camera on the tripod and bring the plants over to look at them, so that rather than just look at the blooms, we would look at the plants as well. And then we got to the practicalities, because the first two I wanted to bloom are out in the kitchen, and I thought, now I'm going to have to take them in there, and then the practicalities started to kick in. There are plants sort of buried in amongst other plants that would have been moving quite a lot of plants to get it out. And do I keep stopping the camera in between? Or do I leave it running while I'm getting plants out and putting plants out of the way? And I just gave up on the idea. I thought we'll go back to how we normally do it. I'll handhold the camera. The other problem with holding the plants in front of the camera is actually holding the blooms still enough to actually get this thing to focus. Because it will focus really close down, but only if the camera and the object is still. And I can hold the camera pretty still, but holding blooms still on the end of wobbly, long, thin, spikes, stems, is just not on. So we're going to go back to doing it how we used to do it. So the two that would have been normally forgotten are in the kitchen. They're both store-bought Phalaenopsis. One has got a name. I'll dig that out for you. But what I'll do with the names is I'll do the pop-ups like I normally do. The nuthatch is on the nuts. I wonder if I could zoom in on it, or if it's going to fly away before I get there. Yeah, he doesn't normally stay long, or he, she, or it. I don't know which. Anyway, that's a bird. That's the bird that decided on getting some feeders. When I saw a nuthatch in the garden, I thought, right, we'll get some feeders and attract that down so that we can have a nice close look. They're not a common bird. They're not as rare as they seem. It's just that they spend an awful lot of time in the tops of large trees, so they're a long way away from you, so you don't see them. Anyway, back to the orchids, sidetracked. So this one I got because I liked the delicate pink, and I liked the gradation from the centre of the blooms out to the edges. And I also liked the contrasting lip, the fact that it did have a contrasting lip. And the colours nonetheless still go together. And it's a branching spike, branch over there, but they're sort of clustered together, so there's that one. And then this is the recent acquisition that was one of my haul when I recently went to Burnham's, and I've always liked the yellow Phalaenopsis, but I don't like the ones with the coloured lip. So again, I got this one because of the lip, the fact that the lip blends in nicely with the colour and doesn't contrast, because some of the contrasting lips on the yellow Phalaenopsis, to me, they just don't work so good. So anyway, most of the buds are open now on these spikes. There were quite a few buds still to go when I got it, but as you can see there's still a few buds to go. But this will be good because it had quite a few buds on it. Then I can record roughly how long the blooms last, because I know when they opened, if you see what I mean. So that's the two in the kitchen. Now back out in the grow room. Okay, I'm going to start this way today and go this way round. So the first one up is Masdevallia Inca Prince. Just trying to see if I can catch the light so that you see the purple sheen. It's not a colour, in fact, it's hairs. It's purple hairs all over the blooms. But you have to catch the light right. This one's got a little bit of well, I'm going to call it mould on the grounds. What else can I call it? The flower's been open a long time. This one's going over now, it's starting to fall apart. And then the other Masdevallia I've got out is this one. This is just a no ID hybrid. And again, when I first got this, it was because of the purple sheen, which on this one is sort of, let me watch the screen, non-existent to very, very purple as the angle changes. It's and I liked it because it had stripes as well, so it had quite a bit going on for it. It's not a large bloom, but I like it. It's quite attractive. And then coming over here, we've got the Orchid, which the bloom that I thought was going to blast did actually open. It is smaller than the other two, but it did actually open. Now I've got to see if I can get this to close focus so that we can get in nice and close. Because these are attractive. I didn't like these much when I first got it, but they are attractive. So and they are very slightly fragrant, but it's a night fragrance, not during the day. So I don't tend to get to smell it because I keep forgetting to come out. But night fragrant, most Orchid are night fragrant. So that's that. And then I'm going to have to lift this one up because it's hanging down and we need to look up at it. So I'll just lift this one up somewhere up there for now. That'll do. It's only going to sit there for a short while. Right, now this is Dendrobium conico, and this is a Victoria Regina cross, and it's a good colour, very good colour. Are you going to focus? Eventually. Comes out in clusters, the same as Victoria Regina. I'm just trying to remember what it's crossed with. It is a primary cross, so I think it was Goldschmidtianum. I think was the other parent. But yeah, it comes out in clusters. It's been having a rest recently, and the plant itself is not doing as well as it has done, e.g. new growth failing. But then there is another one up there, another couple up here, not looking that good. Doesn't seem to be pushing out growths from the base. Reasons unknown. As I said, most of these plants have had a shock of some sort, you know, by changing houses. And then we've got my little mounted Phalaenopsis down here. And again, these are small blooms, but, you know, within that size, there's a lot going on there. You know, you've got a creamy yellow colour, you've got white, you've got yellow in the centre of the lip. The lip's got sort of purple on it. The petals have got pink, there's veining going on. There's an awful lot going on those little flowers. So interesting bloom, and it's one of the Phalaenopsis spikes that extends. So you get a few blooms and then they drop off and it extends and a few more come. Eventually I will take the spike off completely. I don't leave them there forever. Right, now we're getting to a place. Oh, you'll be pleased to hear, although it's nothing to do with this morning when I came down, the trays with the water in were half full of water. The bottles had leaked. Now, on 3 of them, I did the lid up a bit tighter, so that was my fault for not doing the lid up as tight as it will go. So I've tightened them all up, and I will see if they carry on leaking. Now, if they leak, then they defeat the object because I'm going to get water in the tray, which adds humidity, which I don't want. Now, if I've stopped them leaking, then we can carry on as we are. But if not, I'll have to get some inanimate object, like a brick, get a couple of bricks or something, so that we can continue the principle, but without the water all over the place. Right, come over here. And up here we've got radiata. Now this is a Prosthetia type bloom, so they're upside down type blooms. Yeah, so the lip is at the top. These types of orchids do have a distinct shape to the blooms, but within that there's an awful lot of variety. There are some that have very long dangly petals and sepals. The octopus orchid or shuttlecock orchid, whatever you want to call it. I've got the Black Comet version of that has yet to bloom since I got it, but I saw it in bloom and picked one up at Did I get it from Burnham's or did I get it from Spiceotic? I can't remember. But anyway, I got one that wasn't in bloom, knowing what the blooms will look like. And that's an almost black version of this. So we'll see what that one looks like when we get some blooms. Now the next one, I am not going to get the plant down. It's right up the back. And this was another one that I was thinking, I'm not going to be able to get at that plant. So we won't. We'll zoom in on it. That's another thing I keep forgetting, is that I do actually have a zoom. That's a nobly type dendrobium, and it's got a name, and it blooms on and off various times of the year. It's a strange one, but it's also a very large bloom and a very large plant. Very large, so very top heavy, prone to falling over, and has to lean against something. Well, it does at the moment anyway. So that's that one. And then we come round to the bigger Miltoniopsis. Oof. Squeeze between the racks. I'll put them back in a minute. So we've got this one. Again, attractive blooms. I like it anyway. And I like the colours on this. I like the fact that it's paler, but it's still got the veining on the lip, so that has got a lot of blooms. That's done well. First spike is actually starting to go over, but there are spikes on the plant that haven't fully opened yet, and some that, oh no, it's on the plant next door. But there are still some buds to come lurking, so there's still some more to come on that one. And then we come round to the other one. And again, there's quite a few blooms still to come out on here. They're still starting to open. And I'm a little concerned because I have distortions on some of the blooms. You can see here what's going to happen here when this opens. It's something not quite right with it. And yet some of them have opened perfectly, like this one. Now these are large blooms as well. And they're almost the same as the previous plant we looked at as far as the lip is concerned, but obviously a much deeper colour on the petals and sepals. So attractive plant, but as I said, I'm a little concerned that some of the blooms have come out distorted, which is a bit of a nuisance, but we'll see what happens longer term. Right, where should we go next then? We'll come over here next. Now this is Epidendrum. Nice bright orange colour, also known as the, hang on, I've got to bring the camera around the frame of the thing so that I can get at that one, and then we can focus in on it. These are known as the crucifix orchid because the top part of the bloom looks like a crucifix, sort of. Depends on your viewpoint, I suppose. But a nice bright cheery orange, almost gone now. There won't be many, I think there's one more bud to open. This one will be gone. These will be on the floor tomorrow. And then we need to concentrate on new growths and get quite a few new growths, because that's where the blooms will be next time round. So we'll work on that. My only Paphiopedilum, new acquisition from Burnham's. Now I used to grow these badly, and I decided that I'd give them another go, starting with quite a vigorous hybrid that seems to grow quite well for people. So I thought if I start with one that could be classed as a bit easier than some others, it might encourage me to get a few more. But as far as Paphiopedilums are concerned, I only like the ones with the patterned leaves. I'm not too keen on the ones with the plain leaves. A lot of the time they're quite big plants, but you don't really get any increase in size. The only thing you might get is there's a little more of the multifloral types in amongst the plain leaf ones. But that'll be my next task, will be to look out for one with patterned leaves that has multiple blooms on the spike. And that'll be my next one to try and find. I may be unsuccessful. Right, and then we come round here. Another Miltonia. Very attractive blooms on this. They fade, so the lip comes out a much brighter colour than that, and the yellow behind the sort of autumn coloured markings is a brighter colour when they first open, so it does fade a little bit, but it's still attractive. These have been open some time now. It's still attractive. So that's that one. I'm going to get the camera back on my hand. Ugh. Right, so then we've got this one up here. Now the blooms started back here. They're gradually dropping off, as you can see. This will be the next one to go. But the ones at the end of the spike have only just opened. So, you know, we will still have blooms on this for some time, even though some have started to drop. But the markings and the coloration on this is just really nice. Real colour changer here. When the blooms first open, like this, the lip is purple or pink, whatever you want to call it, with markings, and then it fades. It fades to this colour. So quite a colour changer. That's that one. And then the Cymbidium, the original spike that I had when I brought it home, is starting to fade now, but the second spike is starting to open, so we have got lovely fresh blooms to look at. And you know, I got this one because I liked the colour, I like the shape, and I like the markings. I really like the markings on the lip. So that was my reasoning for getting that. And then we've actually got a third spike coming on behind. So as this one opens up, in a few days' time, maybe a week, the next spike will start to come. So we're going to have blooms on there for some time. And going on down the bottom of the plant is possibly a new growth. And this is a vigorous plant, so that could be another spike, but I doubt it. I suspect it'll be a new growth. So we have got something to work with, you know, but that's got to come out of that pot. That pot's too small and the plant's raised up above it. I can't water that. When I pour water on it, it just runs off. So that's got to be dealt with, and it will be. Right, then we've got the another new acquisition that came from that Burnham's Hall. Lovely, bright, cheery Oncidium. I like my Oncidiums. The only bit of a problem with this one, which I didn't notice when I got it, is obviously take away the lip and you've got 3 sepals and 2 petals. Oh, hello, it's going to rain now. I'll have to speak up, won't I? But as these blooms open, 2 of the sepals disappear behind the lip, like that. So it doesn't look like they exist when you look at some of the blooms, like this one. It looks like it's only got 3 instead of 5. But nonetheless, they're lovely bright colours. It's a lovely bright yellow. And looking at my screen, I'm not sure the camera's actually reflecting that colour accurately. Difficult to say why. And it's been, you know, so far it's been on the screen. It's been looking okay. I just hope that comes out okay when I get onto the computer in a minute. You might have to digitally enhance it. Fiddle with it, in other words. Right, and last but not least, and only just making it, is another cluster of Dendrobium Victoria Regina. Now I'm going to have to see if I can turn this plant to such a... Oh, that's a little bit better, so that we can actually see, because it was looking at it sideways on, you don't see the shape of the blooms. So it took me a long time to get one of these, blooming size, and the real thing. I had one arrive dead and I had to get my money back. I had one that was pink, then I had another hybrid, and then finally I got the real thing from Sarah. And there is no substitute, in my opinion, for the real thing. It has to be the real thing. And when this opens, there's a lot of paleness that fades. The purple takes over more of the bloom as it ages. So that's that. Oh. So I'm arching my back here, trying to get at everything. Now I was just going to say, I don't think I've missed anything. Well, not much. We'll have to use the zoom. I'm not climbing up there. This Dendrobium gets forgotten all the time because those blooms are so far away. Let's see if I can get up a bit higher so that we can get a better look. Very attractive, No fragrance that I can detect anyway. But out of the black hair types, this one grows well. It's probably one of the easier ones to grow and not lose. And in addition to that, the flowers are large and last absolutely ages. But you know, if you just take a quick look at the base of the plant there, you've got the older canes and their height, and then you've got the one that I grew last year that went up to there, and now you've got the one that I'm growing this year. And look at the thickness of that cane. So this one grows well for me. Some of the others I can't say they do. So there we go, that's everything in bloom this time round. There will be some other stuff coming along. There's some more Oncidium types are going to push spikes out in the not too distant future, and maybe some of the Cattleyas. I mean, I've got Laelia anceps will definitely bloom. It's got 3 really strong new growths. We will get blooms on there, and some of the other Cattleya types are recovering well enough that their next growth should produce some buds, and we should get some Cattleya type blooms. Down the line is not, you know, not imminent, but down the line a bit. And then we've got the Phalaenopsis type dendrobiums. They could possibly push some spikes up soon. Some of those have produced some nice strong growths. And yeah, so there's a bit going on and a fair bit to come. Soon we'll be saying everything's stopped growing because it's winter. But I must admit, I am really appreciative of the rain we've had. It's produced a massive outburst of weeds in the gravel beds. You know, in less than a week there's green showing all over the place now. So those were effectively dormant seeds, because if they germinated in that heat they'd have frazzled. So they've waited for the rain and now they've burst forth to mess up my gravel beds. But yeah, I'll deal with those. So there we go, everything in bloom on the 8th, and I don't know what tomorrow's video will be. It might be one of the Project Orchid videos, because nowadays they're quite easy for me to produce. There's only 3 plants to film for each part, for the 3 videos. There's only 3 bits to film. You know, the other clips are already filmed. They were done last time round, so it's only a matter of putting a start and an end on, and a few pop-ups with names and things. So yeah, I might have a go at one of those tomorrow. See how we go. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.